Point guard Fred VanVleet of the Toronto Raptors declared he will become a free agent next month. VanVleet is a Rockford native. The Bulls need a point guard. How should AK proceed? Is he affordable or a sign and trade possibility? Is this a priority?
Well, it's got to be something you explore when you are a team in need of a point guard, a lead guard like the Bulls are, and you have a unrestricted free agent who is from Rockford and has some local connections. Geography may be your best asset here in terms of something to offer Fred VanVleet. I don't know how realistic it is. There are going to be other teams out there who will pursue him and will drive his price up. Maybe he'll have a big say in it. Maybe he'll want to come back to the Chicago area or Chicago in the Rockford area so he's closer to home. I don't know what is going to motivate him. If it is the Bulls, they're going to have to figure out a creative way to fit him under the payroll. It would likely require a sign and trade. You might have to start to think about parting ways with Patrick Williams. How much do you like Kobe White? Could they take Lonzo Ball's contract? There are all sorts of maneuvers you can do from a front office perspective to make this happen. But you've also got to consider they're going to be competing with the Suns and the Rockets and other teams out there that may have more money to spend. And he just turned down $22.5 million that was going to be his, and now he's going to hit the open market and be probably one of the highest and most hotly pursued free agents in the marketplace.
He can also hit a three every once in a while, right? Something the Bulls are in desperate need of, somebody that could actually hit a three-point shot. So, sure, not my money. I'd have to know what the sign and trade would be, but if involved my guy Pat Williams, not. Go ahead. Send him up to Toronto in a sign and trade if that's something they would want.
You know, every player that comes available, especially every point guard that comes available, we're going to try to figure out how they can come to Chicago. But the reality is, and I mean, there are some connections here, right? Mark Eversley was the GM. The GM here was an assistant GM in Toronto, has a relationship with him. Obviously, he played with DeMar DeRozan. You know, there are connections for Fred VanVleet, but the problem is the money. He's turning down 22.8. He's not turning it down to get less. He's turning it down to get more. And I mean, you mentioned the Suns. If they're getting rid of Chris Paul, wouldn't that be a nice guy to bring in as a point guard? Are the Lakers interested? They're interested in everybody, and everybody wants to play with LeBron. I just think you mentioned Houston. That's a good one. I think there are a lot of different options for him, and I think that there are teams that will be able to pay him more money. I think if the Bulls want to bring him in, they're going to have to get rid of somebody or make some kind of a move to clear up some cap space. And I think they're I think that we know the Bulls are going to have roughly the same team because they don't have a lot of wiggle room with the salary cap. So it's fun to imagine how this guy would fit in or that guy would fit in, but the reality of trying to do that is a little more complicated.
I think we just don't know what he wants and what is driving him. I don't know if geography or that kind of allure would be strong enough. And then they would have to get into some of the salary cap gymnastics.
Exactly.